It was in 1989. I was studying English as my major in college when the students' leaders in Beijing started the protest. The students just took to the street and marched for weeks, hundreds of thousands of students. And so I just could not sit still. I led a group of our students to Beijing and occupied part of the Tiananmen Square, along with really hundreds of thousands of students. That was, of course, before the government sent its own tanks and military soldiers for the bloody massacre. I left the Tiananmen Square 3 days before the massacre because my then girlfriend was very sick, but hundreds, if not thousands, were killed that night on the June 4th of 1989. And I learned some of my buddies, my friends, betrayed me by telling lies in order to escape their responsibility. And I just could not reconcile with that reality. And I was kind of in a mood of despair, especially when I knew that we didn't really commit any crimes, any violence. We're just holding peaceful protests. You know, in China, especially somebody like me, as a young man raised and in a countryside, you would rather die than being imprisoned or implied with a so-called political crime. You don't want to shame your family, your village, your city. I was thinking to commit a suicide bomb campaign to kill my enemies, my betrayers. And then all of a sudden, a classmate handed me a small booklet and asked me to read it. And it was a biography of a Chinese pastor who heard the gospel and converted to Christian faith. I just could not help reading it with one breath almost, and my life was totally changed by the power of the Holy Spirit. Well, after I became a Christian, of course, I felt my life was really kind of in a different world. Suddenly have an unspeakable joy and compassion even to those of my betrayers, and really the hatred was gone. Most of my time I was busy like a full-time evangelist and pastor to the underground church, organizing the printing of hundreds of thousands of Bibles, and that led to a little bit trouble for my life. In 1996, both my wife and I were imprisoned, and we were accused of illegally evangelizing or engaging in illegal religious activities without permission. I was not allowed to sleep and being beaten and abused. We were released, but immediately put under house arrest. So we decided to escape from Beijing. We were accepted as refugees by the United States. Oftentimes, I have learned that our brothers and sisters in China had been rounded up or detained, arrested, and some were imprisoned, and some were even tortured. I mean, watching my own children sleeping peacefully on bed and thinking, what could I do for my brothers and sisters, to make a difference? That's how in 2002, I started the Ministry of China Aid, established to advance religious freedom and human rights and rule of law in China, and by exposing these abuses of the persecution and encouraging this abuse and equipping the leaders. Over the years, I was invited by the UN to testify in Geneva, in Washington, D.C., testify before the UK Parliament to make awareness and basically to urge them to take actions to address this brutal persecution and still going on today.